What's going on, traders? Hope you're having a great Wednesday. It is August 2nd, and we'll be doing an analysis of the S&P 500, the Spider ETF. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and in no way is financial advice. We're going to start off with the daily chart, of course, and the main thing that, as everybody probably knows by now, last night in after hours, the rating agency downgraded our credit rating, and that caused a gap down in the markets. Futures fell pretty drastically as well. And here we are with the real market structure shift. This trend line that we have been watching has now been broken. A pretty convincing close below the daily 9 here, which is at 453.80, but not so much a convincing close under the daily 20. We're sitting right under it. It's right at 450.36. The close was 450.13. So, it really, was not that strong of a down day overall, but certainly some changes structurally in the market taking place. Of course, tomorrow we do have Apple and Amazon reporting earnings. They are high beta names, so they can really move the market, especially Apple, of course, as we all know. So they will really be kind of make or break for the market, whether or not we potentially see more downside or at least get some type of a relief bounce. However, the bulls do have a little bit of work to do to get things back on track. I've been talking about a pullback being necessary and needed. So I welcome this. It's only going to set us up for nice opportunities and then to just rally back up, later in fall and into the end of the year. Let's see what happens with earnings. But as far as the technical perspective, another thing that I wanted to point out, we've been watching this overbought reading here for some time now, finally really kicking in as far as the momentum. It was actually funny, those August 18th for 40 puts that were down almost 60%. Now, granted, I did sell a lot before FOMC to de-risk, so it is a much smaller position, but they were down about, I think I mentioned last video, it was like 60% or something like that. Today, they almost went green. They closed down about 13%, but we're at an interesting spot, so anything can happen with the earnings here. So we'll have to see how I got. They expire on the 18th, so I'm just have to keep an eye on them. All right, so I don't think that there's anything more I wanted to go over on this chart. Let's take a quick look at some of our other daily charts. One thing I want to mention here, this bigger trend line that we have been watching on the way longer time frames. We are coming pretty close to it, so I want to keep an eye on this trend line as things progress, because we could potentially come in for a back test, which may set up another nice opportunity, or also something to watch if we do really start to violate it and break and close under. That would be a nice stronger confirmation for more downside for for the bears. So we'll have to watch. I'm trying to move this here. There we go. We'll have to watch as we get closer to this, and we'll see where we are. It looks like, depending on when we get there, in the 448s, 50s, 30s. So let's keep an eye on that. All right, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over on the big charts. Let's just look at one more. Okay. All right, you can see here in the morning we did just try to push ever so slightly up and get it back over this trend line, but unable to. Really not too much to go over on this chart. So um, yeah, that gap really was quite strong there. All right, so we're gonna go now. All right. Okay. All right. So now, initially, this is where that information, that data came out. I believe, I'm not exactly sure what time it came out. Either way, we did sell down back into this 440, this 452 area. That's why we saw that's where we saw a nice strong bounce up. But in pre-market, we came right into, I know this area on futures was about uh, 45.80. But we basically came back into 455 here in pre-market futures. If you're awake at 6 in the morning, you could have, potentially taken advantage of that trade opportunity. But certainly, we've been talking about that 455 being a key pivot for the bulls to, recapture the half gap of this previous balance here, and they could not get back over it. And then you can see we just sold back down and then really broke again out of um, out of our previous balance zone that we were watching. We traded down into this next balance here before, or that we were watching from before, and I will show you guys what I did today. I did take one long trade that was a loss. I was using that 452 area as my risk. So I don't trade in the morning. At least, the first 30 minutes I'm sitting out, kind of letting things establish, at least for the options, with IV being a factor. But I did take a long, somewhere in this area, right around 10 o'clock, 10:15 or so. I was looking at those lows, and I was also watching this 452 area to see if that would be supported. Obviously, it wasn't, and I had to take a loss there. But you can see here in the morning. Now, again, I don't take trades like this. This was right as the bell opened, pretty much. But it came down, pushed back up, but really just retested that 25% quadrant, right? Back tested the previous balance, and then boom, you can add your short. And, usually if a trade down like that, you should be okay with that move if it worked out with the IV. But but either way, yeah, I got stopped out of that trade. Now, I did end up going short. Finally, we came back up here. We retested the top of this balance area, and I started a short position right here on some puts. And then I got those at 1 day out expiration. But this was my big trade. I took another position on some 0 days up here with room to add. I added right here as again we came back to test this previous balance. And then when we broke this trend, you can see from here we were starting to make an uptrend. When I saw us here break this trend, I got in my last bit of puts right here at that 451. I did mention on that Twitter that this 451 was really being a pain for the Bulls today to get over. They tried a few times to confirm over and just unable to. But we had our balance zones, and we see these were just fake breaks. They just could not get over it. And I was also saying that really we were going to have to recapture that 452 today to have any hope for the Bulls, and that's going to pretty much also remain into tomorrow. Needless to say, we just bounced around here, basically made a little head and shoulders type pattern. Finally broke the neckline, but we didn't get real confirmation underneath 450. I said under 450, we'd likely see about another dollar move. We didn't quite get there. Down, I thought we were going to come into the 449 and potentially retest the lower part of this balance down here. That's what I was targeting, but we did not get it. So keep in mind here now, this was the half gap. This is where we saw a bounce earlier in the day when we did see a little bit of that reversal in that 450 area, the half gap of this new balance that we're now going to be trading in. So let's keep an eye on that 450 here. If we can hold above, and you can see actually we are pushing up a bit here in after hours. But this is going to give them the opportunity, being back over that 450, the opportunity to come back into 451 and 450, 40, we'll call it. They need to get over and confirm, but really got to get over 452 tomorrow for any real hope for the bulls to potentially have a chance at coming up, maybe double topping up in this 453.40, okay, retesting again, coming back up, retesting, and then coming back down potentially. But, honestly, we saw a decent trend day today. So for tomorrow, I'm really thinking that it's more likely that we're going to see consolidation. Maybe we'll just trade. I don't even know what is this. Let's see. This is a tighter balance zone, so it's possible we just trade in this zone and await the Apple and Amazon earnings. So let's watch out for that. I always say, of course, after after trend, we get a consolidation, and that's you see it in the more in the macro and in a intraday basis as well. See, we trended here, we came up, trend here, and consolidate, and then we finally did break the range for a little bit and continued the trend. But at the end of the day, this push and this push, they're all lower highs being put in. So this was a bit annoying to sit through and wait, but finally got the move that we were looking for at the end of the day, and broke down for that nice gain on the 0 days and on the 1 day expiration puts. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Let's watch out for that choppy price action. It could be very range bound, but I'll be using 450 really as my marker for how I'm going to be gauging my trades. And if we can really stay above, I'll be looking, for potentially long. And if we're below, I'll be looking probably to keep on hammering that short. Now, of course, as we come up into here, if the market was open right now, I would be thinking, no, if we come back up into this range, I'm going to look to short again. And that's what I would wait for. Or you could potentially, another way you can play that, if this happens, during the day, is take a starter at 451, not your full position, and then you're in full at, 51 here, 40 or in that area, and then wait to see. So that's another way you can play it. And if we come down into the lower part of the range here, we'll be looking for potential longs, or of course, if it breaks, we're looking for 448, and then we'll be looking for this next balance, right? 447, 447.50, and then we'll see about lower than that, maybe 446. I don't know. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over. Let's see how we open up tomorrow, and then we'll have a better idea of what's going on. But again, let's just trade safe and be careful. We had a trend day, likely to see some consolidation, especially ahead of such a big event with these big earnings. So stay safe out there, follow your plan, manage your risk, and take care.